Hello everyone, I am Crawlers and this is another episode of Ridiculous Loadout. As you may already know, this is a series I started way back when in the Battlefield 3 days, basically whoring myself out for cheap views, running a suggested loadout from one of you in the comments section. Now, mostly, this is a not-so-tactical series where most of the loadouts are either troll or bad or just plain ugly looking. Really, I get a chance to try out a kit, a combination that I haven't thought of before, and maybe have good results with it. Mostly not though. So, this time, a Joseph Torres suggested an interesting loadout that's pretty specific, which I like. Inspired by the movie and hence the book Lone Survivor by Marcus Luttrell. It actually consists of two kits, one for each main character of the movie. And I'm sure you know the movie I'm talking about. It was like literally everywhere a while ago and still is. The main character was played by none other than Marky Mark. So the two kits of this movie and therefore this suggestion were the Mark 11 loadout and the M16 loadout. Now I used the Mark 11 loadout, or as close to one as I could get without having an actual 8x scope or an actual Mark 12 in the game, in another video talking about the visual recoil changes in Battlefield 4 CTE that DICE is testing right now. I mean, what better setup to illustrate the horrific visual recoil effects than a setup that's positively terrifying when you fire it with the recoil of a DMR that's multiplied by the ACOG scope that looks pretty horrible. So, since this suggestion came with two loadouts, I thought I'd save the M16A4 loadout for my Sunday episode, and that is in fact what I did. So, it consists of an M16A4 assault rifle with an ACOG scope, a laser sight, a heavy barrel, and an underslung rail for the M320. Now, for the sidearm, I have the M9 without any attachments, also an M67 frag grenade, and a medic bag. Also, these weapons all have the spray camo applied to them for that extra bit of authenticity to the movie. Although I really would have loved to see if DICE let us apply something like maybe leaves and twigs and things like that we could tie to the rifle as a camo, kind of like in Bad Company 2 Vietnam DLC, where you could you had this camo of leaves and twigs on the sniper rifle. It doesn't have to be, assault rifles or even all weapons, but maybe just sniper rifles, I think that would be pretty cool. But, having said that, this is actually a pretty cool loadout already, as it has a few things going for it. Now, side note, I did record this loadout run in the Battlefield 4 CTE servers because they are, as I said, running the visual recoil update beta test. So I thought, why not take advantage of it while I'm playing with a kit that has a lot of visual recoil and can, sometimes get away from you. So obviously that is what I did. Although the problem is that there was only one, maybe two CTE servers that weren't empty all the time, so I had to play some game modes that aren't really all that good for recording a loadout episode. See, like Rush and Conquest on really big maps, not my usual choice for a loadout episode, as the maps are so big. I don't really get to see the enemy for minutes at a time, and that just, makes for a boring video. But enough about that, let's get to the star of the show, the M16A4. Obviously, the M16A4 is the only M16 included in Battlefield 4, as DICE seemed to not want to repeat the Battlefield 3 experience where M16A3 was pretty much an all-around god gun. So we only get the burst-firing M16A4 this time around. And by the way, you might remember that we also had it in Battlefield 3 the last time. So it's a burst-firing assault rifle, the M16A4 is, that cannot fire in full auto. And that's something that's never been a very big plus for weapons in Battlefield games, and indeed all FPS games that we are talking about. I mean, some people absolutely love the AN-94 in Battlefield 3 and could put down monster streaks with it, but personally I was never a fan. Reason being, the recoil mechanic for burst fire weapons in Battlefield 3 was much the same as it was for full auto weapons, giving them no actual advantage over the full auto ones. So that is, the burst fire weapons still had the first shot multiplier, marking up the recoil on the first shot, and therefore likely knocking the gun off target before the next shot of the burst even hit it. But in Battlefield 4, DICE went and entered a much needed fix for this mechanic, as I said in a video a while back. Basically, what they did was transfer the first shot multiplier on burst firing weapons to the last shot of the burst, so that in effect it became the last shot multiplier, so that the first two shots of the burst were only affected by the normal upwards per shot recoil only, and the last shot's recoil was multiplied by the first shot multiplier. Now, of course, this was a very welcome fix, but I believe they could have gone even further. In my opinion, the first shot multiplier should be completely removed from burst firing weapons altogether, because it stands as it stands right now, they are way down the list of all used weapons in Battlefield 4. Now, another way that DICE helped some of the burst firing weapons in Battlefield 4 stand out is that they gave them a higher rate of fire when in burst mode as opposed to full auto mode. So, like in the example of the AK-12. Obviously, the M16A4 doesn't have a full auto mode, so it's kind of hard to compare, but the rate of fire is pretty good at 800 rounds per minute anyway. Which brings me to its stats. The M16A4 in Battlefield 4 does a standard for a 5.56 assault rifle maximum damage of 25 at 8 meters, which drops off to 18 at 55 meters, which is nearly identical to its stats in Battlefield 3. Its muzzle velocity is 650 meters a second, which I believe is the second highest muzzle velocity after the AUG A3, and a rate of fire of 800 rounds per minute. But keep in mind that's only burst fire, so not fully automatic. And that's not even the highest rate of fire among assault rifles, by the way. Even the damn F2000 does more puts out more lead per minute. But what the M16A4 makes up for in is reload speed. Its short reload is a brisk 1.8 seconds, with its long reload clocking in not far behind at 2.37 seconds, both being the fastest among assault rifles. It also has a per shot upwards recoil of 0.28, which is made much worse, namely 0.42, with the use of the heavy barrel. Its first shot multiplier is 2.5, and its side-to-side recoil is 0.1 left and 0.4 right. Now, this is actually a tiny bit worse than it was in Battlefield 3, and obviously you can see that it's a bit uneven, and thus will pull the gun to one side most likely, so it's not a very good situation, especially with the horrible visual recoil of the vanilla game. Now, Simthic doesn't actually show the stats for the laser on its gun comparison page yet, so by no means this is confirmed, although honestly I don't know what they're waiting for, as they have had access to the game files since Battlefield 4 came out. So they could have been, published at any time, the specifics, but having no outside confirmation, I went and recorded a bit of footage with the laser on and off on the M16A4 and poured over it in After Effects, counting the spread area with a calculator in one hand and a piece of paper in the other, and I was able to come up with some numbers for the specific effects of the laser on the M16A4 hipfire, as you can see in this gun stats overlay that I typed here. Obviously, I think it's needless to say that the laser has to be on in order for it to take effect on the hipfire spread of any gun. Now, as for the M9's stats, it's really a very mediocre pistol in every respect. Its maximum damage is 27 at 8 meters, which drops off to 12.1 at 55 meters. Numbers only slightly different from Battlefield 3, with the drop-off starting just a little earlier. Its rate of fire clocks in at 400 rounds per minute, provided you can click that fast, and its muzzle velocity is a middle-of-the-pack 380 meters a second. Its per shot upwards recoil is 0.45 and 0.3 both left and right, so its horizontal pull shouldn't be a problem, as both left and right pulls should cancel each other out. The reload speed is a pretty quick 1.3 seconds for the short reload and 1.6 seconds for the long reload, and its first shot multiplier is 1, which is kind of obvious because it's a semi-automatic pistol. So, I had a lot of fun with this loadout. I love these real specific suggestions, so please keep them coming, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. And now, because I don't feel like suffering alone, Joseph must also run this loadout and upload it to YouTube, and I'll accept the link down below in the comments section. So thanks for watching. Please rate and share this video as it helps my channel grow. Check out my other videos at the end of this one. And remember, in Soviet Russia, YouTube subscribes you.